kind of forgot how to do this a little bit. Yeah, welcome back to the channel. Doesn't really look like a normal winter's day in England. Because I'm in Australia. I've been here for like a couple of weeks, here for like a few weeks more. I look so red, mad. Anyway, today we are going to Fremantle Prison. I'm trying to do this out here so no one would see.
I think I saw, mate.
Okay, so this is Ella, and if I could describe her in just a few short words, it would be a massive pain in the ass. But she's part of the family that I am staying with during my time in Australia. They're essentially a second family to me, and this just gives a bit of context to sort of why I'm in Australia and who I'm staying with. But yeah, let's go back to the video. So today we're going to Fremantle Prison. Now, I did talk a while back about potentially doing like some sort of prison tour or some kind of tour anyway. Didn't actually end up doing that in England because we just couldn't really find the time to. We're now doing one out in Australia. Now this prison, I think it's quite interesting. It's got a bit of English heritage as well, so you should probably enjoy it. I don't know how much I'll end up filming because I'm a massive pussy and I don't really want to film in front of people. So I'll probably try and refrain to talking too loud in front of people. But anyway, yeah, we'll just give it a go and yeah, see what happens.
Why is it red? But it's like hot red.
I wish there was still like the phone. It's not like a... No, I think it's like a telephone. Well, there should be a telephone.
Telephone. Prisoners were allowed 2 to 10 minute personal calls on weekends. Legal calls were an exception. They could be taken anytime.
One eternity later.
We were allowed.
They do have to speak through the room. Did they?
Oh, that's scary.
What did they have to do? Speak through that room.
Well,
And they speak through there. See, they'll be speaking normal though. Don't we? I don't mind thinking it. Oh, yeah.
Well, that is a turn right there.
I might need like some extra light from you guys, by the way.
Extra light.
Well, not now.
So that's the cell block that the convicts built back in the 1850s. They had a limestone dug from this site. You can actually see the original line of the hill. So they spent their days outside the prison, building roads, bridges, buildings, etc. From 1887, it's a maximum security prison for all the local prisoners. They divide the cell block into 4 divisions. Crimes get worse, sentences get longer as you move up. This space here was an assembly area for the convicts, a no man's land in the modern times. A big wide open space between where the prisoners are and where they want to be, surrounded by a big wall with guards in the gun towers on the top, 6 of them all around. A rifle, a torch, and a lot of coffee. It's a really boring job up there. Day after day, night after night. So it's easy to understand that a lot of weird stories come out of the guards up in these gun towers, those long, weird and lonely nights. A lot of weird little things that are easy enough to write off, you know, like the window opened itself or closed itself, or the kettle turned itself on, or the radio voice came out of it and, you know, changed its own station, and weird little things like that. You know, you just put it down to someone, you know, too long on their own, too short of sleep, too much coffee, that kind of thing. But then there's a few stories that are a bit different to that. 1973, a guy called John Sheriff that had been here for a long time. He was up there, and it wasn't even that late at night. It was only probably about 8:30, I suppose. It's a Friday night, I think it was, mid-Jan. And cool breeze, and big moon, and tourists. And anyway, he's like doing his regular thing, like walking out the end of the walkway every 5-10 minutes, looks around the parade ground, nothing happening, turns around, comes back, does it again and again and again. Every night, night after night, same old thing. This particular night, at that particular time, he walks out the end of that walkway, looks around that parade ground, and this time, guess what he sees? Nothing. turned around and he comes back and he's about to walk in this little cabin up here, and there's someone standing on the other side. Right? This tall, dark, shadowy figure just staring straight through him with these cold, dark eyes. And he freaks out because there is no way for anyone to be up there. There's no reason that anyone should be up there. People don't just cruise around, popping up into the gun towers just to see how you're going across the night. It just doesn't happen. And yet here he is standing, staring at someone completely out of the blue. Freaks out, does what a guard does, points his rifle and shouts, "Identify yourself!" But of course there's no answer. Just this weird chill up and down his spine. Identify yourself. And then this figure starts to approach. Closer. Up to the door and is about to walk through the door when... which is a sound that ghosts make when they disappear, if you're unfamiliar. And he's standing there staring, pointing a rifle at whatever he was just shouting at. Now there's nothing. He's pretty confused, to say the least. He spends the rest of his night at the end of the walkway, freaked out. He resigns after that night. He doesn't stop there. He packs up his house, his life. He moves to Albany after that. You guys probably never been to Albany. No one has. Like, it's a long way away. It's cold and it's windy. People don't come back from there. Until the father of one of his victims was sent here as well. He soon found out where this guy was, and he too got himself a job in the kitchen. He didn't have much to offer, he was just a cleaner in there. There's a lot of natural weapons and hazards. He just had a mop and a broke, and he managed to grab just a couple of segments of that broken mop handle and whittle it away till there's a sharp point at the end of both of them. And in the middle of one really hectic day, there's 25 odd prisoners in there, a whole lot of equipment and noise, and he runs up behind this guy, jumps into his back, rides him into the ground, and these little spears flick out into his hands like Wolverine, and he slams him into this back of this guy's neck over and over again until his head pretty much comes off. Segregation cells. Segregation cells, right? These cells have their own little yard attached to the back of them. So it's for prisoners who need it to be protected from others, protected from themselves because they're suicidal, or, along those lines, or who everyone else needs to be protected from. And it's just constant isolation. There's a little yard at the back, so they don't see anybody else for the entire duration of their stay here, for years potentially. And that does strange things to people on their own. Solitary confinement is a punishment, and this isn't too far removed from that. So they get pretty strange. Now, take a prisoner who's in a situation like this for being suicidal, like Alan Lewicki. 1950s he's in here. I think he had a 4-month sentence for stowing away on a ship. That very first night, he barely survived. He used the razor blades from that, the bag of toiletries that he was given to slash his wrists close to 20 times. Anyway, they catch him doing that, so he's put into one of these cells and closely watched. The quilt on his bed is held together with a weak thread, so it would fall apart if he tried to hang himself. He doesn't have anything on him, right? There's no toiletries or anything anymore. So he uses that quilt and shoves it down his throat, tries to choke on it, but they hear him doing that, so they take the quilt off him. There he is on just a bare mattress. He chews the lining out of the mattress and strings himself up with that. But he work out how to get his feet up. So they take that off him and put him in a straitjacket instead. A few hours later, he's chewed the lining out of that, or the laces or something like that, and he hangs himself with a part of his straitjacket. No stopping. No stopping. One old guard told me a story once. He opened a cell up on a guy like this and found him there having bitten the veins out of his own wrists. If someone's prepared to do that, there's very little that you can do. Did you want to head out?
Yeah, I'm just going to take her outside.
Yeah, so it's just out there. If you want to just head straight out to the front gate and then just get the supervisor to call us when you want to come back. Alright, just through that exit sign, you'll see the front gate to your right. Andrew, there's a couple more coming out, don't like my jokes, coming out of the Division 1 door. Only 33 to go. Alright, so a cell like this presents the guards with a whole lot of anxiety. You don't know what to expect from someone who's been in there for, years basically, getting weirder and weirder by the day. That's why I need some brave people like you guys, or maybe just one person at a time.
Adam.
To head in there and just check that everything's going to be okay for everybody else.
Planted something in there, though, have you?
You don't have to.
No, it's cool.
I mean,
it's
you
cool.
can
It's fine.
just let someone else do it.
Is it open?
Yeah. So just check around the
Wait,
side.
come in with me.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
Jeez.
What the hell?
Oh. Right, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's pretty clear.
How's
Yeah.
it all looking? It's all looking
It's
alright.
fine, yeah.
Just a bit weird in there, isn't it?
A little bit.
Why is there a plug socket?
I all of a
What
sudden
did he
feel-
charge?
Well, certainly not his phone. Alright, so if you guys just want to check that other door behind you,
Yep, go on, Adam. Go on.
and we'll all be right out.
Nah.
Just head right in.
Yeah. Holy shit. I'm freaking out. Okay, I'm scared. Wait. Toilet. Wait. You're holding on to me so tight.
I don't care.
I think this is just outside here. Holy shit, my legs are shaking a bit then. Fuck. But I'm not even joking, I was fully expecting to open the door and someone was just like running at me.
Yeah, I just tapped down on shoulder, showing a heart attack.
My right leg's still shaking a bit.
Sometimes to make it a whole lot worse. There's knots in the interior, I should say. So 100 lashes was the maximum back in the convict era, but rumoured to get a lot more than that too, especially under the second guy running the place called Hampton. You got Hampton Road out the back, named after him. He was a bit of a monster. So, all these prisons way back then, way back whenever, they, in some cases they do what they want. It's an incredibly brutal punishment. It's difficult to describe. It's much easier to demonstrate. If only I had a volunteer or a nominee.
You go for this.
Thank you very much, sir. Congratulations. Alright, so just stand there, hands up there, facing that way. Straps, so spread your legs apart like that. Alright, the shirt's obviously off his back. There's a leather collar around his neck to protect his arteries. Belt around his waist to protect his organs. There's a doctor present to make sure he doesn't die. It's all so safe. There's a gallery of convicts to witness the spectacle, also to help humiliate this guy as he falls apart in front of them. And then there's the flagellator, a person brought in from outside the prison to flog this guy half to death. He's hidden behind a mask to hide his identity, to avoid retribution. No one knows who he is. It could be a sister, girlfriend, mother, father, friend, could be anyone. But are any of those people here today? Oh, we won't. Alright, so this is not a cat of nine tails. This is like a mouse of three. Alright, it's a bit sad looking.
It'll actually hit me hard.
It's alright, you kind of need to hit him hard just to make up for this measly little whip that I've got. So, and you just bleed as much as you normally would. And yeah, so you just give him a quick 100 lashes. Just across the back there.
That was nice, Al.
You probably did. If you really want it, don't feel like we're pressuring you to be quiet.
Tell me.
Did you want to do one more? Just
One more out. Arden.
There was one execution in Fremantle that didn't happen here, and that was the first in the colony of a white man charged with murdering another white man. Except they weren't men; they were boys. John Gavin was 15. He was a juvenile convict, and he murdered a 17-year-old boy on the farm that he was working in. Just hacked him to pieces in his sleep, apparently, with an axe. And then walked into the mum's room, his intended victim apparently. He didn't take an axe that time, he just took a plank of wood. She sat up and shouted at him, and he scared him off. And he went for a swim. Later on, she discovered the fate of her son, saw John Gavin walking back, all drenched, wet from his swim in the river. She said, "You did that, and you washed all the blood off in the river." He said, "No, I didn't." But he was sent to the Roundhouse jail and accused of the murder on the Monday. On the Tuesday, they started building the gallows just in case. And on the Wednesday, the trial begins. And on the Thursday, they sentence him to die. And all of this time, he's denied it. He said this man, George Pollard, was his friend, this boy. Why would he kill his own friend? There's no witness, there's no motive. They have Good Friday off. Easter Saturday morning, it's time for the hanging. He's a small boy, only 15. They have to attach lead weights to his ankles to ensure that there's enough weight to break his neck. He's too distraught to walk. The officer has to actually carry him in his arms to the gallows. And he's strung up there in front of a small crowd for an hour that morning. They take his body down. Some scientists pick around in his brain trying to work out what makes a psychopath tick. And then his body is buried somewhere in the sand dunes just southwest of the Roundhouse near Bathers Beach. His grave is never marked, his remains have never been discovered. To this day, no one knows exactly where he is. There's rumours of him haunting the buildings around there. And there's rumours that he wasn't responsible for the death at all, that maybe it was Mrs. Pollard. But no one really knows because there's just so little information available from back then. Bit of a strange one.
It's so small.
The artwork appears at the end. Preparation. This is also a scene of the most serious, destructive, violent, hostage and burning the place down. This would lead to the prison's complete closure in 1991, just under 4 years later. All happened in here. Very long cells in here. We did that a lot on the day tours.
Okay, so yeah, that was the Fremantle Prison tour. I obviously tried to shoot as much as possible. Not entirely sure what I can, what I can't use yet. I've not had a good chance to sort of look back at the footage and see what is usable due to the lighting in there. As you can probably see, it is really dark. Yeah, I mean, you know what to do. Like the video, smash a like on it, subscribe down to the channel if you're new, or if you haven't subscribed already, and I'll catch you guys next time for another video. Bye.